Happy Friday, Infiniteers! Today I'm going to continue the build for my recreation of the Hidden Worlds toy box for Disney Infinity 3.0. And my goal today is to build the Snuggly Duckling and the canyon with the dam. Let me show you once again this screenshot from the Hidden Worlds game trailer so that you can see what it is that we're trying to build. On the right, you can see Rapunzel's tower in the secret valley that's surrounded by mountains. That's what we built last time. And we also put in the terrain for the woods in the bottom right corner. What I'm looking at building today is the Snuggly Duckling Inn in the top middle of the shot and the dam at the bottom left of the shot. I also want to build the secret tunnel that runs from the inn to the dam, which Mighty Jitus built into her original toy box, which I thought was a brilliant touch. I love toy boxes that have secret tunnels and hidden areas like that. Here's a screenshot of the Snuggly Duckling from the Tangled TV series so that we can get a better look at it. Notice all of the curves in the roof line. There's a second story on the left and also a tower on the right side of the building. Unfortunately, we don't have any building pieces that look exactly like that with the wooden siding and the green shingles, so we'll have to do our best with the Fantasyland buildings. As for the huge tree on the left, we could use the treehouse pieces from Building Sets Group 1 to build that, and I think that would look really good. In fact, I tried to do that, but those pieces take up a lot of memory, and on my Wii U, I was not able to add that tree and still have enough memory for the enemies and the collectibles at the end, so I had to take that tree back out. But if you're on a system with more memory than my Wii U, feel free to add it into your recreation of the toy box. I think it would be a really nice feature. As for the dam in the lower left corner, notice how it is positioned and how it is surrounded by rocky hills and mountains. That's what we want to try to replicate in our toy box as closely as we are able with the building pieces that we have. So as we get started, I want to add in first of all one building piece that I forgot here in my valley, which is this little medium cliff edge. And I had put this in my original toy box build right up here just so this didn't look quite so flat. I thought that just added a little bit of dimension that was kind of needed to that part of the valley. So I wanted to make sure I put that in and didn't forget it. Alright, so let's start with the terrain that we're going to need for the Snuggly Duckling. And we'll go ahead and style this piece now to switch it to our Tangled theme, Rapunzel's Kingdom. I'll set that to be my theme. And then we'll pick that piece up and put it back. And we're going to add in two more of these, like that. Followed by this piece. We're going to put this out here, and we're going to put down 4 of them. Like that. Okay? And then we're going to come back over here. And I want to put in... Let's see... How are we going to do this? Actually, we needed a third one of these, so let's pick this up. Move this down. And we'll drop a third piece in that gap. Okay, and then we're going to drop another piece right here, just like this. Followed by a little spacer right here. Okay. And then what we want to do is put down the base for the Snuggly Duckling. Basically the floor. So we're going to drop one piece in here, and I'm going to change the theme on this now to be the Toy Box Terrain theme. This gives a nice stone floor that we can use for the floor. of the building. Then we'll add another one in here like this. And then I want to pick up one of these cliff pieces and put it back. And I think we have to go to the right. Yeah, it's this piece here, I believe, that we're going to need. And we'll put the rope over on this side like that. Okay. I think that's the piece we need. I don't believe there is a cave piece that has that. I think we have to use the sewer piece. But let's double check. Yeah, because the one in the caves has a well on top, and that's just not going to work for what we need. All right, so there is the base for the Snuggly Duckling Inn for the floor of the interior. And now we'll build the tunnel that goes from here all the way over to the dam. And I think what we're going to need, I believe that is the right piece. Yep. We'll drop that in here. And now we're going to change the theme back to the Rapunzel's Kingdom theme. Okay. And then we're going to use the cave tunnel piece, and we're going to put in 3 of these. So 1, 2, 3, followed by the bend. And we want the bend to go like that. Okay? And then we'll spin it around 180 degrees and come out over here like this. And then we'll put down 4 tunnel pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by another bend. Again, you want this cave to line up so that we have a passage that runs all the way from the inn all the way over here. And then the cave tunnel, 2 of those. And then we're going to put the end on this. And actually, let me take these straight pieces back out. You can use these, and that would be fine. I did this when I built this the first time, too. We'll pick this last straight piece up. I wanted to use the mining tunnel, because I think that adds a really nice extra detail in there. And we'll put the straight pieces in for that. There's nothing wrong with the other one, but this looks more like a man-made tunnel this way. And I like that. Okay, and then we need the cap that goes on the end, and I think that's at the other end of the drawer. So let's pick this piece up, put that back, go over to the left, and here is the mountain middle tunnel. I don't know why this is not located in the drawer with the other ones, but there you go. Okay, and that puts the end on that. All right, and then we'll come back over here, and let's pick this piece up, put it back. And we want to plug the gaps now over here, like that. And then we're going to put a piece of terrain in here like this. And there we go. So now we have the base for the Snuggly Duckling with the tunnel that comes all the way over here to the dam. And I like that. And then over on this end, we're going to add in 2 of these. And then I want to go pick up the slopes. We're looking for the tiny slope. And what we want to do here is put this in, let's see. Yeah. We're going to put a row of these across here, going up to the dam. And what I really want there is the bend. So we're going to put this out here on the edge like that. And I think this is the piece. Nope, that's the piece. Should be... Oh, I have to have another piece. Sorry. Like that. Okay. There we go. So that'll be the rim of the canyon. And then we'll need to put one of these pieces over on this end. And at this point, I'm going to wait on this edge until we get the canyon in. Okay. Now, let's pick this piece up, put it back. We're going to drop this over here. And we're going to change the theme now to be the dragon's domain, which is the same theme that we used over at the secret valley over there. Okay. And at this point, let me grab my screenshot here because I've got this drawn out on paper, but it's also a little bit tricky to build. So I want to make sure I get this right for you. So hang on just a moment here. And it might be easier to start over there. And what I want to do is line this up with that. And we're going to drop this down, I believe, just like that. Let me double check this. Yes. Just like that. We're going to put 2 of those down like you see there. Okay. And then over here, yeah, while we're right here, I guess we'll work on this section next. This is where it kind of starts to get a little tricky, because everything we do has to line up with that corner over there when we're all done. All right, so we're back at this part of the drawer, and I want to come over and pick up, I think it's this piece here. Yeah. And we're going to spin this around, and I want to drop this right up here like that. Okay. And then we're going to pick this piece up to get back to that part of the drawer. Go over to the left. We're going to drop a couple of these, which gets that up to the level of that piece. And then we're going to drop one of these peaks on top of here. And the peak that we want to drop is the same one we're using right here. So let me pick that up and put it back without moving it. And we're going to drop another one of these right over here. Right on top of that, just like you see there. I want to rotate this that way. All right, and then let's pick this piece up one more time, put it back, go over 2 pieces and pick this one up. And we want to bring it up to the level of the ground up here and drop it down 1 nudge. Okay? So just like that. That's going to be the level where the water is at when we're done. Okay. Yeah, on this side then, pick that up, put it back without moving it. We'll drop one of these down. And then we're going to drop down one of these up here like that. And then I want to come over and pick this piece up, put it back, which gets us to this part of the drawer, and I want to use this shallow floating cliff next, just so this doesn't look quite so square there. And then once again, let's come over here and pick up this cliff piece, put that back, and I want to grab this cliff right here. And we're going to come down and drop this. Let's see. I'm going to drop that right there, just like that. And then notice how this lines up underneath that edge over there. That's important. This we need to line up flush with the edge of that. And then this piece lines up like you see there. Again, we want to make sure it's lined up with the back edge of that. That goes in there like that. This piece comes over here like this. And then I want to put in the elevator. And I'm not quite sure where that piece is. Might have to scroll a little bit till we find it. You'd think it would be down with those other cliff pieces, but it's not. It's way over here. We want to sit that piece in there like that. And then I want to look for, there's a little corner piece, which I think maybe I passed it. It's got a rope on it. There it is. That's going to sit up right up here like this. Okay. Okay. And then we're going to pick this piece up, put it back, and I want to grab, let's see, it's going to be probably this tall guy right here. We're going to drop that down like that. Alright, so that plugs the gap that was under the edge of this. That also puts in the wall that we need down over here on that side of the canyon. And while we're at it, let's grab that. We're going to go bring this over here like this. And I think we can get by with using the small one. Yeah. And we could use this, but I think I'm going to use the larger one just to save memory. The fewer building pieces we use, the better. So yeah, I think that's going to work best. And this is going to give us the floor for the tunnel. Okay, so there we go. And that is looking really good. Now we'll pick this piece up, put it back, go to the next size larger. That's going to sit over here like this. And then we're going to put another one of these peaks on top of that. And this time we'll use the same piece, but we'll rotate it a little bit. I want to make sure it's sitting right on top of that. And we're going to spin this around like that. Okay. That puts the cave out at the end like that. And then I want to grab this piece over here. We're going to bring this out. Remember, the level of the water is going to be down at this level. And we're going to place this right over here on the end, like that. And I'm going to move it over just a nudge so it lines up with the cave entrance there. Okay, so there is the canyon with the cliffs around it, and I've left room here for the water. We have a gap we have to plug over here, so let's do that. And we'll put down one of these here like that. Okay. And then I want to pick this up, put it back. We're going to drop this down. This is where that little sunflower will sit. We'll change the theme back to Rapunzel's Kingdom. And then in order so this doesn't have such a stark transition here, let's look for the wide grassy terrain blend. We'll drop that in here like that. There we go. There is our terrain for that. Oh, one more thing. I guess we're going to need a floor for the canyon, huh? So we'll use this piece. I want to make sure it covers the whole floor. So we'll put it in like that. And this should definitely be the dragon's domain, so I'll set that to be the theme. Okay, so there is our canyon, and we have everything but the dam and the building. And that looks really, really good. Okay, I like that. Now, since we're right here, let's go into the basic blocks. And let's build that dam. We're going to use the block wall corner. And we want to slide this in here. Let's see, it's going to sit like that. And we'll set the theme on this to be wood 1. We'll take that all the way down to the bottom. And then we're going to put down a couple of pieces here. A couple of pieces there. So there is the dam. And the water, remember, only goes up this high. So we'll have to put the next size smaller piece in here like this. And yeah. So like that. And unfortunately we don't have a little L or a little corner bracket for these. So we'll have to put something else down in front of this to block that in. And for that we are going to use, under Building Sets Group 4, the Fantasyland stone buildings. There's this rock base, and that's what we're going to use. And you can kind of rotate that so it doesn't look quite so repetitive all the way down. Like that. Okay, so there's our dam that's holding in the water. And if we scroll over to the right, we can put down a building piece here. Can add a little bit of detail on this if we want. Put that piece up there like that. And I thought the water wheel would be a nice touch. Let's see, I think we already passed that. Yeah, here's the water wheel. It kind of goes nice with those building pieces. We'll drop that in there, like so. Okay, and then all we need to do is add the water. But how are we doing on time? Oh, we're getting a little behind on time, so we'll add the water in, I think, next time. I want to get the Snuggly Duckling built, so we're going to come over here. And this is going to be the basis for what we're going to do with that. And let me get my screenshot here. So I make sure once again that I add this exactly as I had it before. Yeah, so this is going to sit centered on that terrain seam there. And kind of positioned with respect to that terrain seam, just like you see there. Okay, we're going to put this too high. Now this creates a second story, which we did not have on the original building, but I need this to be a little bit taller so that the ceiling inside of here and everything can work, because I need the ceiling to be up this high. I can't have the ceiling being too low inside, because you'll remember the interior of the Snuggly Duckling has an interior that's kind of tall. And what we're doing here is putting in these building pieces in a way that we're kind of hiding the door. You don't want the door to be sitting here. You don't want the door to be sitting out here. That means we have to put it this way or this way. And just so it kind of looks consistent from the outside, we're going to put it in this way. And then I'm going to drop down a couple of these on the front. And we need to put this like that. Okay, and so this is how we're framing in the building here. Now on this side we can put in a door down on the bottom. I think that's okay. And actually, how did we do this? Did we have... Trying to think. Actually, I think this was styled with the... This was part of the floor, so this has to change. We need to have this be toy box terrain. And this one too. Okay. And we can have a door like that. Can't have one floating up in the middle of the air though, so we'll have to do it like that. And we can have a door on the outside if we want. Nothing wrong with having a back door. Kind of like having the windows. And since I like the windows, we'll rotate it that way. Alright, so there is the Snuggly Duckling with room for the interior. Okay? And before we build this up any further, let's go ahead and put in some decorations here. And I thought we could use this little bench as kind of a way to hide that hole a little bit. It kind of looks like a counter maybe, where the server would be. Inside building sets group 1, if you go to the left, we have this really neat treehouse lantern. And I like how it has the tree branch. And that really reminded me a lot of the kinds of decorations you had inside the Snuggly Duckling in the movie. So we'll go ahead and put in some of these. And we'll add in some of those here and there around. So we have the branches inside the building. I just think that's really cool. That adds some nice decorations in there. We're going to want some table and chairs here. And if you go down to the decorations drawer and you go over to the right, you have to go a little ways, but you'll come to the interior furniture. And we have some things we can use for a table and chairs that kind of matched what we saw in the movie. We have these nice chairs. We don't really have a table, but we have these crates. That looks like something that they would have done, kind of a makeshift way. So I like that. So if we drop that and then put a few chairs around it, that works. We can put a chair over here, another one in the corner, and then over on this side, we can do the same kind of thing. With a couple of little tables here. And we have a nice little interior for the Snuggly Duckling Inn. Does it match the movie exactly? No, but you do what you can with the building pieces you have. Up under gameplay toys, we have some automatic doors. If we scroll over to the right, we'll find those. And we have this nice automatic double door. We can drop this right in here like that. And those doors will open up for us as we go in and out of the Snuggly Duckling. So I like that. Okay, so there is the outline for the building. So we have a nice interior, we have a nice exterior. Now we need to try to build the roof, and this is where things start to get a little tricky. Let me grab my screenshots here once again. Okay, so the only thing we have really with sloped roofs are these two Fantasyland straw roof pieces. And again, those don't match the movie, but I think it's the closest that we got to work with. So what we'll do is we'll put this one up here like this. And then we can kind of put some of these along here. We can do that. We can put it in like this. We've got some different options here that we can use. We can put that in. We can put something like this up here just to kind of make things look interesting, because you'll remember they had the one little thing, and actually this is how I had it built before, but let's move that over to the middle. I think I kind of like that better. And then this makes a nice corner piece here. Then we can go And here's where you kind of start to run into a little bit of trouble. You have to make do with what you can. And don't worry about the fact that we have those over there. We're going to cover that up a little bit when we get to that point. Okay. Okay. So there we have our first floor with the kind of weird looking roof, but that works. And then what we will do is put down another roof up here to add in kind of our second story up on here. And I kind of like the way that works. We'll put that side down like that. Okay. So that's kind of the shape of the building, a little bit maybe. Again, is it perfect? No. But it works. Let's see. What we're going to do next is we're going to use this piece here. And this has a nice wooden bottom to it. Can't quite see it there. But we're going to drop this down here, and this will be the roof for the interior of our building. And here again, this is where we run into a little bit of trouble. That one works. That does not. So we're going to want to take that piece and drop it in here. And now that piece is in the way. We'll have to take that out. Drop another one of those in. Okay. All right, so when you walk inside the Snuggly Duckling, the doors open and you now have a nice wooden roof in here. And the fact that you can kind of see a little bit of the straw around the top doesn't really matter, because that just makes it look even more rustic and crazily built. So that's good. Now, there was a tower over on the side, so let's go over to the right. We'll grab that square tower, and I want to set this over here, kind of covering that up. Like that. Scroll back over to the left. And we'll use this little corner piece for the roof. So that looks good. We need something over the front door here. And for that, there's something we can use down in the pirate buildings. We have this nice awning, which will kind of put a nice edge on that. So I like that. And while we're right here, there's a few little decorations here too that we can use. We can throw down this and one of these on the other side of the door. So I like that. Just a little detail. And I like the way it's kind of cobbled together. That's how the inn was. And that looks pretty good. Until you get up on the mountains up here, and you're looking down on that, and that looks ugly. And so the way we're going to fix that, as we wrap this video up for today, Come back to basic blocks. Excuse me. We're going to grab this large floor. And I'm going to change the theme on this. You could use that theme if you want. That doesn't look the greatest though. But under the Ewok pieces, there's something we can use under the Ewok textures. It's the Bright Tree Village greenhouse. I think, yeah, that's the one. And I'm going to rotate this to put the texture like that. That covers up some of the ugliness. And from down below, you won't really see that. Okay, I know we are a little over on time today, but there's a couple more things I want to do to wrap this up. I was going to wrap it up where I was and leave it in this state, but I really don't like leaving this in this state, so we're going to take another couple of minutes to finish this off properly. And what I want to do is we're going to drop down one of these large rounded cliffs here, and I want to change the theme on this back to Rapunzel's kingdom. Okay, we'll drop another one in there like that, and then this narrow floating cliff is going to sit right over here in there like that. That gives us the nice edge that we need to kind of finish that off. And also, so when we come over this way, and we're standing on the edge of this, it doesn't look like the world drops off into the middle of nowhere. Then we need to add a couple of slope pieces on this side, like that. Okay, so that finishes off that area, except for the water, which we'll do next time. The other thing I want to do is put in the road on this side, and that'll just take a minute, but you'll notice we have all of these small terrain seams in here, and the original screenshot that we looked at had a road here, and we can use the roads to cover up some of that ugliness, which I think would be a very good thing to do. So we want the piece here that is as wide as, or as long as the block is wide. And I believe we want to center this on this piece. Let me just double check that really quick. Yeah, it's that piece there. So not this one, but that one. And we're going to set the theme on this to be Rapunzel's Kingdom. And then we'll put down the intersection. Which looks like that. And then we're going to put down the racetrack piece, which is this one. Followed by this piece, which takes us right up to the entrance of the Snuggly Duckling. And that looks good. And then we'll put down another one of those pieces over here. It'll be the other piece this time, though. Like that. This time we'll put down a long racetrack. And then we'll grab another racetrack intersection and drop that back over here. Okay, so that gives us the path coming from the woods over to where we're going to put the bridge next time. And then the road goes all the way up over there, and that helps cover up some of the ugliness of all of those terrain seams. So I like that. Well, we are out of time for today, so I will continue this build next time, and I will add the water, and the bridge, and the town, and the royal castle. Before you go, leave a comment and let me know what you think of the build so far. And if you're enjoying this build and this series, please hit the like button and subscribe for more classic Disney Infinity toy boxes like this. That's all for me today. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.